Thank you guys for coming to our Zoom class with Lauren. She's going to take over in a little bit and show you all of her handwriting and show you how she does what she does. She's amazing. But before we get started, just a little background on Punkpost. Maybe you just meeting us for the first time or you've been here for a long time. Either way, we're glad you're here. Punkpost is a card sending service where our artists, like Lauren and myself, write your cards for you and send them out. You just pick a card from our shop, type your message. You can add fun extras like confetti and photos and get them all sent in the mail for you. And we handle all of it. You get pictures of your cards, you get a rate and review, and the artists see all that feedback. So it's really fun for us to create for you guys. And we always love seeing your pictures on social. And yeah, we got back to school cards out right now. We just released Grandparents' Day yesterday. We have tons coming up. We're headed straight into the holiday season. So we'll have fall cards soon, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, all of those things are coming. We're pretty excited because the summer is a little more chill as far as greeting cards, but then it really ramps up and it's really fun to doodle all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let Lauren tell you a little bit more about herself, and then she can start writing away.
All right. Okay, I guess I've been writing, well, first, my name is Lauren, if you didn't hear. I've been writing with Punkpost for about a year and a few months. It definitely feels like it's been forever just because of all the practice I've gotten writing. And I really like it. I think it's really fun. And it's definitely helped develop my skills and kind of my style as like an artist. I think my favorite part about Punkpost is just the fact that like I've always liked to write cards, and I feel like it's kind of like a rare art nowadays. People, like my brother didn't even learn how to write a letter and put the stamp on in school, so I think it's definitely a dying art. But I love that we get to connect people through art, and especially now with the post office being kind of on the rocks, I think it's especially important. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here and show you guys kind of my handwriting at the moment. It's always changing, but this is my go-to cursive for all my cards right now. So yeah.
And while she's writing, you guys can ask any questions you have. That way she doesn't have to like look at the chat while it's going. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually can't see a chat, so I don't know if that's just on my end or...
You might have to pop it open. I can see a chat to reaffirm everyone. So if you do ask a question in the chat, I will field it her way.
Okay.
And
okay.
I'll handle that side. You focus on the writing. We'll let you do the more difficult part here. I'll answer.
Okay. All right. So should we just jump into it? So I made this worksheet using this pen, which is the Tombow food, I think people call it, and it's the hard tip. But you can really use any pen that allows you to get kind of like a thick and thin stroke. My two favorites at the moment are this one, and then this is the Pentel Touch Sign pen. They just kind of have like these neat little flexible tips. So the number one thing that I think I needed to hear when I was learning to letter was people want you to adhere by like, oh, when you're going down, you have to press hard, and when you're going up, you have to do it really lightly. And I just think it's whatever feels good to you and whatever allows you to create kind of a shape that you like. So yeah, just keep in mind that like there's no correct way to do this. Yeah, so I guess I'll just start with the lower cases. These are my favorites. And I think I mostly write in lowercase. I rarely ever write with the uppercase letters. So let's start with A. Yeah, this pen is a little bit thinner just because I think they blew up the letters a little bit to fit on the worksheet. So if you have like a super tip or something that you want to use, I think it would work perfectly with this worksheet.
Yeah, we might have adjusted them slightly to fit the lines. And I think when you're starting out, at least for me, writing bigger is usually how it happens, and then you get smaller and better as you go
Yeah.
along.
I also noticed that my handwriting tends to look a lot better when I use a thicker pen because it kind of hides all your mistakes.
It's true.
Can you guys see okay?
Yeah, they want to see what your pen looks like. So after you're done writing, can you like hold it up like to the camera maybe like to see
Yeah, sure.
more what it
Let me just
looks
do
like?
it now. This tip is kind of like all flat and frayed from all the times that I've used it. I have a newer one. It's kind of like a pointy. This is a newer one. It's kind of like pointy, and the tip is kind of hard. So I think that's what really works for me. They have soft tip ones too, but I just feel like you don't have as much control over those. Also, if you can tell, like these are not like the same size by any means, and my handwriting varies quite a bit from letter to letter. I just think if you have like a style overall, it'll look good no matter what, even if there's little mistakes here and there.
Yeah, and I had a few people just chat me. There should be three videos you can see of like me and then one of Lauren's face and then one of her hands as well. You might have
Yeah.
to like find that one and pin it or click on it to be able to see her writing on the page specifically.
Yeah, sorry about that if you can't see. Just give it a second for everybody to find it.
Yay, people found it. I think we're
Okay,
good.
great. Cool. So basically, yeah, there's stroke marks on the sheet. These are just the ones that work for me. So I like to go make my thick, big strokes first and then go in with the smaller details. I know everybody writes their letters in like a different order. And I do this thing a lot where I flick up at the end of the stroke. And that's kind of how I get that kind of wispy tip. And I do press pretty hard on my pen. I don't know if there's anybody else who does that. I've just never been able to be like a light touch type of person.
And when you're holding it in your hand, like how, like what kind of angle are you trying to use when you put it down on the paper?
I think maybe like a 45-degree angle. And I usually look for a part on the actual tip that's kind of more flat so I can get a thicker stroke. Because after using this for a while, it gets kind of like almost like a diamond where there's like different facets to the tip and there's like thinner parts and thicker parts. So I normally try to find the thick part or the flat part and then I go in at like a 45-degree angle um, and press a little hard, decently hard. And then toward the end of the stroke, I let up on the pressure.
And we've got a lefty in our chat here from Mel. Any tips for left-handed folks? I'm sure, Lauren, I'm not expecting you to have any. But
Unfortunately.
yesterday was lefty day actually, and we had some writers share tips over on our Instagram post about kind of their tips. This was actually one of the pens some of them recommended using as it didn't like smear as much. Um, Another
Yeah,
was
this
like
one,
tilting your page somehow. I'm not a lefty either, so.
yeah, unfortunately, I have no experience being left-handed. I can't do anything with my left hand at all.
Yeah, I can't either. And we had some people asking if they could use cheap markers for
Oh
this, and
yeah, for
absolutely.
sure. My favorite pens are the Super Tips, the Crayola Super Tips, and they're super cheap. You can get like a whole box for like $15, and they work really well. I like the shape of them, and they're great to use if you're first starting off lettering. Some people think like if I find the perfect pen or if I find the perfect marker, it'll make my handwriting better, or it'll make me write like the people who are using them on Instagram and stuff. But it really doesn't matter what tool you're using. Am I going too fast?
Anybody? We had some people say that they're slow, and I mean, you can talk to like being able to go fast or slow.
Oh, well, I've just been doing this for so long. Yeah. When I first started, I definitely tried to make every single letter look the same. And I think that's what probably took the longest for me. Um, but it does come easier with time. Like once your hand kind of gets used to that muscle memory, it allows you to go a lot faster. But yeah, just let me know if you need me to go back over a certain letter or if you have any specific questions about any.
And
I
don't feel bad if
definitely.
you're practicing along and you're a lot slower than Lauren. That's why
Oh,
you
yeah.
have the worksheet. You can, go back and practice later too.
I would definitely say that I have like a bunch of worksheets from when I first started that I just went over and over and over again while I was watching TV or something. And that just kind of helps your hand get used to the motion. And it doesn't seem like it's working at first, but over time, you'll definitely be able to tell a difference. The F is one of my favorite letters.
We had somebody really curious about it, so they'll watch you in action.
Doesn't everybody write their F's this way or differently? I'm not.
Like said, F's are hard
Just,
for her.
yeah, I definitely have letters that I don't prefer, but this is one of my favorite ones. F and Q are one of my favorite letters.
I'm personally very impressed by the little like loop you're able to make and get it to like actually loop around everything without just smashing together.
Well, thanks. I definitely didn't even notice that.
Have you always written an F like that?
No, I don't honestly know when I started doing it. I wish I could show you my lettering from even just a couple years ago. I look at it and I cringe so hard because I'm like, how did I ever think that was like a cool way to write the letter? It definitely got smaller toward the end. That tends to happen for me. I also love G's. Anything with loops, really.
Chris said she writes her F like you too. So we have some
Cool.
other handwriting artists actually on the workshop today with us, and it's fun to see all the different styles and see that other people write letters the same way.
And the thing about being in Punkpost is you get exposed to so many different styles. And a lot of the times I feel like I see it and subconsciously over time, I like it so much that I just end up kind of adapting it a little. Like my handwriting kind of shifts to be what I admire in other people.
Yeah, Heather said she writes her F's like that too, and she's purchased quite a few punk postcards, which is awesome. And she asked if there's a way to request you for cards in the future, which you can. Is the answer. You can request Lauren, and you can just leave it her name at the end of the ordering process. You can say, I'd love for Lauren to do my card. And if she has it and is available, she'll write it. But you can also go
awesome.
favorite Lauren. We have little bios over in the app and on the website. And if you put a little heart next to our name, your likelihood of being matched with that person is much higher when you order a card. Yay! She didn't even know there was a favorite button. So now you know. There's a lot of Punkpost features, so it's hard to know them all.
Yeah, you could spend a long time just exploring the app. There's so much like.
Yeah. On your H, how do you like connect? Do you do a little loop if you were to connect it? Say you wrote like, I don't know, I can't think of a good word, like shut. If you had like, do you do any like loop? You can, yeah, I guess write it there.
Let me see. Like, no, I don't think. I think depending on the letter, or if I'm trying to like do a flourish, I would, but most of the time it's just kind of like there. It's just decoration. Yeah, you could do
just
it
break
like
them apart.
Without, I also go sometimes if I'm lazy without the loop on it. It's just how you feel if you're feeling fancy.
Yeah, if she's working on any letter, I guess, and you wonder how she connects it to another letter, you can let us know, or we can do some groups of words at the end.
Yeah, and I can also go in with, you know, like a super tip if anybody wants me to.
Yes, like partway through, you could switch to a different pen or something if you want.
Yeah, that might be cool. I will say lettering with something as thick as a super tip definitely kind of boosts your confidence because, like I said, it's so thick that it kind of hides your mistakes. And when you feel more confident in your lettering, you tend to like do better. It's like a psychology thing, I think.
Yeah.
This letter is pretty simple.
It's so fun on my end. I can see all you guys writing so hard. It takes a lot of focus.
It does.
And how long have you been lettering, Lauren?
I want to say that I started when I was really young, but I never took it seriously until college. I want to say like freshman year of college. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I keep activating my Siri on accident, so if I keep cutting out.
You haven't cut out, so at least on my end. We have Kim here who's in 6th grade and she's joining. She was asking if it was bad if she was here, and I would say absolutely not. I think that's really awesome.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
She's in 6th grade joining our class today.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the younger you start, like since you're still developing, it's a lot easier for your muscles to kind of catch on, and it makes it easier to kind of get into more difficult things when you get older. Like if you ever wanted to get into calligraphy with like a dip pen, I wish I had started when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a kid, I probably did like artistic things, but never did anything like as serious as learning like lettering or calligraphy or something.
I think it's just really hard to have that discipline to sit down and do drills and stuff as a kid. So Kim, I think it's awesome. Yeah.
We're very impressed that you're here and working on drills.
Wow, none of these K's look the same, but that's fine. That's okay.
That's part of hand lettering.
100%. I think it's the worst thing for you if you like see other people write one word on Instagram and you're like, oh, all of their handwriting looks like that all of the time, because I'm sure it doesn't.
It's not true. How are people's hands feeling? Need a break.
Hand break.
Feel free to take hand breaks. Definitely. Nothing wrong with that. You're building muscles.
And like I said, I can always go back if you miss a letter. Am I blocking the view like when I write it?
A little bit on some, but not like. That's good.
I have kind of like a iron grip on my pen and my hand tends to just go everywhere. M and N are also some of my favorite letters. I guess I have a lot of favorites. Oh no.
Yep. And if anybody is having issues seeing Lauren, you might have to just go over to the like view that you're in and like gallery view and kind of pick which video you want to look at. Perfect. Yeah, if you just double click on it, you should be able to see her full screen.
Got room for one more.
One more, squeeze it in there.
I forgot how much fun doing drills is just because you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
You just have to focus on one letter at a time. I think I'll switch to a different pen. Find one that doesn't have like a super flat tip. I'll do purple for Brenna.
Perfect. Favorite color is purple.
So I'm going with the super tip now. Hopefully it's not black, but you can still see it, right?
Yep, it's nice and dark.
Cool. I will say it's definitely a little easier to do it with the super tip just because using a thinner pen with the size of the letters is a little bit harder. But like I said, you can use anything you feel comfortable with.
And definitely don't worry if your letters don't look exactly like Lauren's. Even when you are doing drills, your letters are going to look a little different and you're going to develop your own style.
I would say that this is more just for inspiration and to like know what feels good to your hand to do or what you like about a letter and what you don't.
Yeah, you really do like the little loops
I know.
on your letters.
I didn't notice that until I did this worksheet because you never really think about how your letters individually look.
When you're working with the super tip, do you hold it any differently at all?
Um, no, I think that they're pretty comparable in size in terms of like the thickness of it. So I pretty much just grip it the same way. I kind of hold my pen a little bit weird. I hold it um, like I said, like a death grip. And then I have like this huge writing bump right there.
Yes, a writing bump is definitely something you develop over time when you write a lot.
Especially with Punkpost.
Yeah.
All right, Q. Another one of my favorites. And like if you can see here, like the loops will disappear if you use a little bit of a thicker pen, just because they're kind of delicate, and when you use something thicker, the ink kind of bleeds together a little.
And I guess for the people who around here who aren't as familiar with Punkpost, how often are you writing and like how much practice are you doing, Lauren? As I interrupted you to your
That's
train
okay.
of thought.
I just started doing a G. Um, I would say before I started doing Punkpost, I maybe wrote a maximum of like an hour. I just learned I can't talk and
You
write
can't
at the
talk
same
into a
time.
cue.
No. I
It's a
would,
tricky
yeah,
letter.
it is. I would do about like an hour to an hour and a half a week, if that, just because like if you don't have a set time that you would practice, it's kind of hard to keep up with it. But when I started Punkpost, I would say I spend about an hour a day doing writing. So it definitely, I could tell an improvement just based on the amount of time that I was getting practice.
Yeah. So just like anything, the more you practice,
Yeah,
the better you get.
exactly. And it really doesn't feel like you're getting any better just because the change happens over time with this kind of thing.
I don't know when you, there we go. We couldn't see the first ones. I think it's just the further you are to the left of the
Yeah, I
page, we
think
can
it's
see
because
more as we go,
the
just the
letters
angle.
kind of.
But I didn't know you wrote an R like that. That's a fun way to write
Do
an R.
I go back and forth with my R's? I notice that sometimes I do one where it's like it's got more of like a point on the top, and then sometimes I do more of like a flat R like that, and sometimes I'll even go in with a loop like that.
Does anybody
So,
else write their R's in two parts like that? I guess I just never even thought of doing that. So
do you write your R's in one part?
I just like start at the bottom and just loop
Oh, what?
over.
Like this? Interesting. I didn't realize I did that either until you said it. Let me see if I can not cover this one.
We have a few people that say their R's change every day. So it's a flexible letter.
I think R is definitely one of the letters that kind of shape shifts. There's a little fly buzzing around me. It's driving me nuts.
I have some people that say they might use a different letter, like an R in the same word. Erin said she made it different in the same word. So
I noticed that with my E's. Sometimes I'll go uppercase and sometimes I'll go lowercase within the same word. I thought I was the only one who did that, so that's nice to know.
Gay is here to affirm me that the old school cursive is the starting at the bottom move, and that's definitely I think how I write an R is like old school cursive.
I think that's how I was taught also. Do they still teach cursive in school? Like elementary school?
I've heard they do in some places, but anybody out there have kids that are learning cursive or skipped that stage while doing school? I know I learned it while writing checks was how we learned
Cursive?
cursive. That was like part of the cursive curriculum was like
Oh,
the application of it was writing checks.
I actually did have one teacher who ended up being one of my favorite teachers of all time. She made us write checks every week and we would exchange like fake money in the form of checks for like school supplies and stuff. And she would always make us write in cursive for everything, no matter what it was. So thank you, Mrs. Gant.
Thank you. Establish your writing. But yeah, we have a few people. Brenda Kate says it's not standard at schools. They teach cursive at fun at the end of the year for the third graders. Erin said her son's Montessori school does, so that's good. Get some out there.
I remember hating it as a kid, but I think I definitely would want my kid to learn cursive just because it's fun. Or just they
Yeah,
had like nice handwriting or handwriting
penmanship.
practice.
Yeah, Anna said her kids still do it at school. But Tara said it's on the way out. Some teachers do it and some don't dedicate any time to it.
Right. I think it's nowadays it's like not necessary anymore. Again, Siri, I did not say your name. I don't.
Chris said her school doesn't, but she's teaching her 7-year-old, so that's awesome. We
That's
definitely promote that.
and
Francesca said
that
she
must be
hated
patient.
lettering class, so
Well, just because they tried to make you like do it
force
like
you.
their way, yeah, and you couldn't just be like, oh, okay, I'll do it my own way. They kind of forced you to do it kind of in a way that didn't feel good for me, so I was less eager to do it in class.
I have some people that are like in the thick of it. So we have a second grade teacher that's starting teaching cursive in January, and we got another person. So they're elementary and they're taught cursive. So look at all this. It looks like it's
Godspeed.
like some schools, not all schools, but I think back in my day, we definitely all learned cursive.
Mine too. Although mine wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, you're not
It
as far
just, I
removed.
think, no, I just think that they just recently started deciding that like letter addressing, writing checks, and cursive are like just no longer kind of necessary for curriculum, which makes me sad. Because me and my brother are only 5 years apart, and he actually got upset when I made fun of him for not knowing where to put the stamp on an envelope. Just because I was like, I do this every day and you really don't know.
If somebody's asking if you how much you like bend your wrist and move your arm while you're doing it, I guess
I would say I mostly use my wrist. A lot of people say you're supposed to use your whole arm so that your wrist doesn't get tired. I just was never able to kind of get that. So my arm barely moves, but my wrist kind of does all the work. So like in this letter, it's my wrist making those loops. But I think for maybe muscle health sake, maybe try to either do exercises between writing or try to put less strain on your actual wrists.
Yeah. Do some. You can go ahead and do numbers, and then we can see if they would rather have you write out some words other than do our capital letters section.
All right. Yeah, I do my zeros like this sometimes, not all the time, but if it's like an address and the house number has zeros and then the street name has O's in it, it's kind of hard to differentiate between my O's and my zeros, so I'll put a slash through it just so you can kind of tell them apart. Does anybody else do their zeros like this?
I usually would not.
Or like when we write gift certificates and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
there's like O's and zeros, it kind of helps me tell them apart.
Yeah, some people say they don't write zeros like that, but I think it's smart. Definitely defines it.
Yeah, it's definitely not an everyday thing. Just when I feel like doing it, I guess. And I don't always put this little thing on the one either. And sometimes I'll put the little base on it and sometimes I won't.
Give them a little bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have other people who, handwriting artists, who just use the slash for gift certificates that you can send in Punkpost cards.
I actually don't know whether I had been doing that consistently before I started writing gift certificates or not. Because I don't think there was ever like a reason to in the past. But I thought it was kind of cool, so I was like, oh, I'll just do it from now on.
It too is so cute.
Thanks. I never knew how to like write it too until recently. I do it a lot where like I hate the way that I letter a certain letter, so I'll try to avoid writing it. And then I'll see somebody else do it a certain way and it makes me hate it less, so I just adopt that way.
Say that like following a lot of people who write is great, like inspiration, and will help you. Like you're like, I hate twos, and then you see someone write a two, and it's like, that's, I should do it like that. What have I been doing this whole
100%.
time?
It's just weird how your brain kind of locks you into being like, well, I have to write it to this way. And then you see somebody else do it different. And you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, I think it probably goes back to the like ingrained teaching method, whatever they taught you back when you were a kid. You just didn't really branch out from that.
Right. When I was a kid, my least favorite cursive letters were F and E and T because I was always like, I just didn't understand like what the difference was between the regular and the cursive version, except for like a few squiggly lines. So I just always write them normal now. I don't add the extra flourishes to them.
It's like, I don't get these. They're not happening. And we went ahead and started with the lowercase, and we'll leave the uppercase letters for you guys to explore on your own, because you can write pretty much anything with lowercase. It's very common in lettering to just stick with the lowercase entirely. I did that for a long time personally. I just didn't figure out uppercase letters.
I'll only do uppercase if it's like a company name and I'll have to capitalize the first letter, or if they specifically ask me to capitalize something. Otherwise, everything is lowercase all the time.
Tara said she learned her name starts with T, and she just never found one she likes yet. So you'll have to follow some people, or there's a lot of people who do like 16 ways to write a T. You'll have to like search for some of those on
Yeah.
Instagram or just like on Pinterest or Google it, and you might find one you like. I struggled with that for a long time with B. I just couldn't find one I liked, and now I'm like okay with it.
To this day, I still can't find an L that I like. I don't like the uppercase L, and you can't always use the lowercase L.
Yeah.
This is another number that people think I do weird.
An 8.
It's like a snowman. Instead of doing like
Doing the
the
2.
connecty thing.
It's cute. You could easily turn it into a snowman.
I think that's why I liked it.
We have Bridget was asking if there were any Instagram handles you'd recommend people to follow or people that you like in general.
Oh, 100%. For like, I would say for like handwriting, there's the Inky Hand. I took a lot of inspiration from her when I was first starting. Who else? I follow a lot of calligraphers because that's my kind of style. One of my favorites on the top of my head is Via Calligraphy. It's VIA Calligraphy. She has beautiful penmanship. And Candace Carson. Um, who else? I have like a whole list, and whenever somebody asks me to bring it up, I just completely forget.
No worries. Maybe I can get, after this class, I'll send out an email to everybody who showed up and give you some resources, and I can include some of your favorites in there. I'll go ahead and plug our own crew. We have like 150 handwriting artists on our own team now at Punkpost, and if you just kind of scroll through our Instagram feed and see anything you like, if you tap on it, they're always tagged, and a lot of them have lettering accounts that it will bounce you over to, and you can follow them there and see more of their letters if you like their work. Like Lauren, for example, has a lettering feed of her own where she has all her fun art and other things she makes, but you can see her style is definitely represented over there on her Instagram page.
Yeah, and there's so many Punkpost handwriting artists that I just like. It's kind of just ingrained in me to be like, oh yeah, like of course I love their lettering. So I can't really list all of them, just as there's so many that.
No worries. Yeah. All right, we have made it to the end. I guess, do you want me to see if there are some words that people want me to have you write?
Yeah,
I guess you can,
for sure.
to start us off, what's your go-to word if you're like practicing like or using a marker for the first time to see what it does? What's your word do you write?
Hello. Just, like when you go to Michael's.
Yeah,
like,
and you got to test it.
Or
Hello.
people write their name a lot, but again, I don't like the way my name looks. So I don't usually write my name.
I have the request for, I'll let you write
Punkpost.
hello or Punkpost or whatever you'd like.
Because it's self-explanatory. Okay, I'm really done with Siri today. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not saying anything that sounds like Siri at all.
It's very touchy. I'm jotting down some words that people want to see, so I've got a quirky one for you after this.
I'm excited. I feel like I'm being tested.
All right.
All right, there's Punkpost.
Lex wants to see what xylophone looks like.
I can spell that.
I can spell it for you.
I think it's XY.
XYLO and then phone.
Hello. Oh, and then sometimes I do my H's like this. That's how I would connect it, I guess.
That's how you connect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys have any other questions for Lauren about things, the next one is Tara. Tara.
Tara.
So maybe you like that version of your name, Tara. Grace wanted to see happy after you're done.
Oh, that's a good one.
Happy's a word we write a lot as a handwriting artist for Punkpost.
Yeah, happy, and people usually do the happy birthday. So I think I've written happy at least like 1,000 times by now.
Yep. Tara said it's lovely.
Thanks. Hopefully you can find an artist who writes the letters in your name the way that you like, because I know how annoying it is to not like the way you have to write your name on everything. I still cannot find letters that I like to write my name with.
Housewarming was the next one. It's a good long one.
I always have a problem spacing out my things, so I'll either have to squish everything in at the end or
And then Zoe, Zooey.
I love that name.
We got a question from Erin. She's asking if do you have a method for bouncing your letters like every other one, or do you just like do it by instinct or random?
I think it's kind of instinctual, and it's kind of like I kind of do it on accident where I'll make one letter go up, so then the next one I'll be like, well, then I have to put this one down, otherwise the whole word is going to end up kind of going up. So I would say if you notice your word is kind of going in a certain direction, kind of go the other way.
Yeah.
It's not like there's no method to the madness. It's kind of just play it by ear, which is the worst advice in the world. So I'm sorry. It really is. It really does come with practice. Let's see, what else can I write?
Just glad to learn that the randomness is normal.
Yeah, 100%.
Are there any
I don't know what I'm doing
words that you struggle, like letters that are hard to connect or anything for you?
I will actually say that happy is one of my least favorite words to write because I don't know if it's like the two P's next to each other or what. I think that's probably one of my least favorite words. Probably also because I write it so much that I realize how much I don't like it.
Somebody suggested the word practice or congrat,
Okay.
and then I got another one for you. It's always long.
It's congratulations.
Yep.
That's another one we do a lot.
Yeah.
Practice. Sometimes with the T, I'll go in and do like I always do my dashes and dots at the end, by the way. And sometimes I forget to add them, but I'll do like that kind of thing.
Oh, that's fancy.
Just if you want to make something really boring look a little bit interesting. And I need a whole new page for congratulations. Is it better to use a new one, you think?
Kind
of see through.
Yeah, if you have them there. Perfect. Then I was going to say, you can write congratulations. And then I was going to ask if you had any tips for outlining or adding any little flourishes once you've written your base letter.
Definitely. Maybe I'll write a shorter word so I can show on the shorter word, but
that's a good idea. This gives people a good idea of like your ups and downs for a really long word. Like it evens out kind of after.
Right, like if you look from letter to letter, it kind of just looks a little maybe like jagged, but once you zoom out and see the full picture, then you can kind of feel a little bit better. So I think my biggest tip and the thing that I go to the most when I do lettering is like, this was a tip from I think his name is Stefan or Steven Coons. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Basically, he says to just like write a word, like if I'm doing my name. this would be my normal handwriting, not cursive. But then an easy way to make it look kind of fancy or stand out is to literally just go over it, like make it a little thicker. And you can kind of tweak the thickness as you go and do that to every letter. And it's kind of just like a simple way to like make kind of like a faux block letter. Or I guess it kind of is a block letter.
Gay was asking if you ever start with like lines on the page. So like say you're writing a punk postcard, do you use lines or do you just go for it?
I used to use lines when I was first starting just because I had a hard time writing straight. I think it comes again with practice, but definitely if you're having trouble writing straight, it's super easy to just go in with like a light pencil and draw your lines with the ruler. Or even if you just take a pencil and like kind of just sketch out what would be kind of a straight line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. I don't know if you can see that. Just to kind of guide you where to go so that your text is not, trailing upward that way. Um, I know it gets kind of irritating to have to draw lines and erase it, especially if you use a marker. If you go over it with an eraser, sometimes it'll take off the pigment. Another thing you can do is use kind of like this kind of thing. If you have a piece of cardstock lying around, you can cut slits in them, kind of approximately where you would be writing your text, and kind of just write in between it like that. And then when you take it off, you don't have to do any erasing, which I think is cool. That one might be a little bit harder to execute than a ruler and a pencil, but
Yeah, that one is good for like if you're repeating something, say like writing
yeah.
on an envelope, which is what that is for.
Right. Or if you're going to be doing a repetitive project, something like that is good.
Yeah, I really like your double outlining kind of. It makes it nice and bold.
It's super simple too. It takes like 5 minutes. And then from there, like if you wanted it to look more bubbly, you would just kind of go in where there's a straight edge and bubble it out like that.
Around all the corners.
Yeah. And then another thing I like to do is go into the corners in the actual letter and smooth it out so it kind of looks like an actual bubble. Just so there's no harsh corners or edges.
Does anybody have any other questions or things they'd like to see from Lauren?
You can go in with the shadow.
Oh, she's gonna add a shadow. You can just keep, I mean, what you're seeing here is the more you just add more layers. That's how you get to like some of the fancy things you might see on our feed. It doesn't just like immediately come out like that. It's a lot of layers.
You see that? No, you can't really see that. Let me switch.
Like a, yeah, pink or yellow or
be.
something. Yeah, we can see that.
And for shadowing, this is also something that I kind of picked up just because I could never conceptualize like where the shadow should go. But I would say choose a direction that you want to put the shadow. Like I'm going to put all the shadows on the right side, and then choose like an up and down direction. So if you want the light source to be coming from below, you would do the shadow on all of the tops. And if you want the shadow to be coming from above, you would do the shadow on all of the bottoms. So right now I'm doing all right and then all on the bottoms, if that makes sense. Was that a little confusing?
No, I think it makes sense. It is hard, like when you're actually doing it, to think like where to do it. But yeah, I think thinking always on the right, always kind of from the top, and just trying to look at every letter makes sense.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know how long you spend on a punk postcard usually.
Depending on how long the message is, or how, like, if somebody requests me to draw a certain thing, it will take me maybe 15 to 30 minutes per card, depending. I definitely got faster as I kept going.
Yeah.
And let me switch colors. I think just when you have like a bank of doodles in your head already, it comes easier to you. Like
somebody wanted
once
to
you've
see the
already
word "miss you" as an
miss
option if you were going to write something else.
Okay, cool.
Then somebody asked if you do all the like write all your words first and then you go back and shadow and do everything, or do you kind of go word by word when you do it?
I tend to do all the words first and then all the shadows, just because I feel like if you break it up and then you write the word and then you do the shadow, you're in writing mode and then you're in shadow mode and then you're in writing mode and then you're in shadow mode. And at least for me, like I said, my style is always changing. So I might do one word one way, and then by the time I get to the second word, it's completely different. I don't know if that happens to anybody else,
Yeah.
but
You're like in a mode and you do that.
yeah,
It's hard to like
exactly.
recreate that feeling.
So I always try to go, like, think of it as like an assembly line. So I always do the letters, and then I always do the outlines, and then I always do the shadows if I'm doing any. And this is another reason why I love super tips. It's just because you can kind of control the thickness by going over it again. Whereas if you're using like a Tombow brush pen, it's kind of already thick. So, and the shape doesn't allow you to kind of go back in with precision. And we can add some highlights maybe. Sorry, guys.
No
I'm gonna
worries.
move you over.
And we have hit our hour mark, so if you've got to go, I totally understand. But we are set up to go a little longer if Lauren would like to continue on, we can. But we
Here
know it
for
is
however
later
long.
over on the East Coast, our East Coast friends.
Oh yeah, it's already like 10 p.m. over there.
Yeah, exactly. I have someone who is asking about a specific style.
Yeah, the highlights are a little bit harder to see from far away. What style?
Okay, so I'm going to show you this boop boop picture. It kind of looks like some outlining or like a color with, so we have two word like outlining like ribbon-esque thing, and then more of a like, it's hard to see on here, but like writing in yellow and then shadowing with like a black.
Black pen.
Yeah. So if you are skilled at either of those, I don't think this is your card specifically, but
No.
I know you
I
can
definitely,
the
yeah,
shadowing.
I do the shadowing quite a bit. The ribbon one, maybe not so much.
No worries.
Show.
We're going to have some other classes this month, workshops, and we might have some other ribbon people or
I know there's a few people in Punkpost who love that style and do it all the time.
I mostly only ribbon. So
Okay, so let me just take a random pen. So basically you would just write whatever you're gonna write, whether it's in cursive or regular handwriting. And then, like I said, with the shadow, choose like a side, choose like direction. So if you want the sun to be coming from this way, or the light source, you're gonna be shadowing all on the right and all on the bottom. So the right side of this line, the right side of this line, the right side of this, and then for this, you're gonna hit the bottom of the curve and then the right side of this one. And then just repeat kind of, sometimes you'll have to do a little estimating, like, would I put a shadow here, and just kind of visualize, I guess, if there was an actual light source, where the sun would be hitting it. But mostly I just stick to like all on the right side and then all on the bottom. Yeah, like that. Let me bring it closer. And then of course you can go in with like any color that you like for the shadow. I think it just shows up kind of best if you use like a dark color for the line and then a lighter color for the actual letters.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice style. It's very subtle when it's like a thin black line
It
like
is.
that.
It just adds a
To
little
the other.
something.
Mm-hmm. And Lex was wondering what pen that was.
Oh, this one? This is
using.
one of my favorite pens because it doesn't smear. It's a Micron pen nib. So I know that, for example, they make ones that are like this with the little metal part, and then there's like a little felt tip part coming out of it. But I prefer this one because it's kind of like a regular ballpoint pen, but with the same ink as a Micron pen. And then the tip doesn't get frayed because I think it's made out of like some kind of like plastic or something. But yeah, this is my favorite pen ever.
Heather, who requested the one that I showed you, and then you did the outline. She said it looks great and she loves it.
Thank you. I wish I could do the ribbon one. I don't want to try it and then completely embarrass myself live in front of a bunch of people, but
no worries. It just takes practice, and you know, we can't all do all the things. We have to learn them. I'm not very good at shadows, so what are common things? Happy is always something we write, or any other words people love.
I'm trying to think of any favorite words that I have. This is usually my go-to for happy birthday cards.
Do the block letter first, and
then the cursive second.
Do you have any favorite colors you prefer to write in, or any 100%. Combos you go to over and over?
I'm kind of neurotic, so I have all my pens numbered, and I have a color chart. So I have numbers that I like prefer. 56 is a good one. I have this pink one is nice, and I always gravitate toward yellow for some reason. I don't think it's just me either, because I see a lot of people using yellow on Punkpost page, but this is a good combination that I always go to, especially for a couple of our card designs that have that kind of color theme.
Do you have how many Crayola Super Tips do you have? Like, do you have the 100, 50?
Oh man, I have 100. I have like combination of different packs. Like I probably have 2 of the 50 packs, 2 of the 100 packs, and I just kind of throw them away as they dry out. But every batch kind of has like a little bit of a different color formula. So I don't know if you've noticed that, but from batch to batch, I'll have like a favorite pink, and then it won't be in the next batch. So I buy more to see if I can find it again. So I have a ton. I have a lot.
You definitely I see a lot of Lauren's art, so she really uses like a darker yellow and then a lighter yellow, or a darker blue and a lighter blue. She likes that. don't know the word for that. I'm sure the word when you use one color, but like different levels of it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm sure there's some smart art person who knows. I'm not a like trained artist, so.
I'm trying to think of what colors
Kara
I go
had
to
some
for.
other words if you're looking for words.
Absolutely.
Common one she uses in cards, which we write all the time. Amazing, super, awesome, feel better, and hugs. So if any of those inspire you.
Let's see. What was the first one?
Amazing.
Like Dory memory. I can't remember things past like 5 seconds ago. Amazing. Amazing. And I do one of these a lot just to add like a little quick
and easy accents.
I'm trying to think of what other go-tos I have for lettering. At my cards to see inspiration. I really do gravitate toward the blue and the yellow. I do a lot of like gradients, I guess. So I'll start with like a really light color and then go over the bottom of it a few times with the same color. Can you even see that?
Can you hold it up when you're done?
Yeah.
We have somebody who's asking what other products you use the most or what pens you use the most. You can a little bit. In person, the gradient is a lot more apparent than when you take photos.
I think I use it too light of a color also. I should probably use a darker. I think my go-tos are definitely Super Tips. I have a lot of Tombow pens, these brush pens, which I think everybody probably has heard of, and glitter gel pens are my favorite thing to add to cards.
Can you write with the like happy with the Tombow pen just so people can see like that it looks different depending what pen you're using? That way you don't
totally does
feel discouraged if yours weren't looking like Lauren's and you were using something else. It really will vary from pen to pen what things look like.
I'm like trying to choose a color and I feel myself gravitating toward the blue, so I'll go for
Somebody mentioned that you like the summer colors, and I think that I
do.
True.
I like bright colors, neon colors.
I think we'll go for like another 5 minutes or so, unless people have a lot of other questions. Somebody asked how you add the gel pens in. Yeah, that definitely looks different with the Tombow. Can you hold both of them like next to each other?
Yeah, it has like a more like a thick, thin kind of faux calligraphy effect to it. Like this one, if you can tell, like everything is pretty much the same thickness. But for this one,
you get a little more.
It kind of, it automatically makes it thinner when you put less pressure on it. Let me get a gel pen that I like. This is my go-to gel pen. It's Jelly Roll. I think it's Stardust.
There it goes.
And it's just the clear one, so it kind of blends in with any color that you put it on top of. So let me go over this one. I just literally trace whatever I wrote.
Just trace the whole thing.
And just go over it with just literally one line of glitter will make it super shiny.
Oh, we can see it a little bit. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. It's all about the angle. There we go.
Yeah.
And when it looks a lot better in person. A lot of the times when I try to take pictures for Punkpost cards, it doesn't show up.
But it's there.
But I'm sure when they get it, they can see it.
The recipient will be thrilled. Somebody was asking what the name of the gel pen was again.
Yeah, I think it's Jelly Roll Stardust. Um,
Yeah, they're the ones that have, I think if you flip it over on the little like thing, it has a little star on it. Those are the ones. They're a
mhm,
little bit like fatter almost
mhm.
than a regular one.
And on Amazon, they sell this transparent one in a pack of like 3 or 4. And they also sell like a 12 pack with all the colors in it. But this is my go to just because you can put it on top of any color and it blends in. And you don't have to have like a purple and a pink. And, if you have a color that maybe doesn't match one of the colors of your gel pen, you can just use this one.
Chris said it's the Stardust one specifically. And I think,
Stardust, yeah.
yeah. And she said that you used it on a birthday card and it was gorgeous. And now she owns 13 of them. And the brand of that pen it's Sakura jelly. But if you look up Jelly Roll, it will definitely come up. It's a pretty widespread branch of Sakura, I think.
Yeah, I think it looks so it makes it look like you put a lot more effort than you actually did.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you miss, like since it's transparent, it doesn't show up on the paper. So you can literally scribble all over this and people won't be able to tell. Are there any last minute words?
Any last words or questions? And after this meeting is over, I'll send out a little email for everyone, and you guys will have access to some of the things. Thanks everyone for coming. We'd love to see your work, so definitely tag at Punkpost Co. And you can tag at by Lauren Yoo, and she will also see it. And we love to see what you guys are doing and making, and it's always fun to see. Anything else you'd like to add, Lauren?
I just thanks so much for even being interested in learning. I'm not like a perfect artist by any means. I don't have like a perfect style or even consistent one. I think it really just all is about what to you and what you think look good. So I can't wait to see all of you tagging posts in your worksheets, or if you try to do any of the 3 techniques that I showed you. So much for being here. I had a lot of fun. And also, if you have any questions, you can always message me on Instagram, and my email is in my bio as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much, and we hope you had a good Friday night, and we hope you have a good rest of the weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody is saying thank you, and they had so much fun. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, Lauren. And
yay, I'm
maybe
so glad.
do it again sometime. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.